It's the Mickey Thompson Off-Road Championship Grand Prix. From Anaheim, California, the powerful, high-flying, funny cars of off-road racing. It's the Ultra Stock.
Anaheim Stadium. During the baseball season, it's the home for the California Angels. During the football season, the Los Angeles Rams call it home. But tonight, it's home for the Mickey Thompson Off-Road Championship Grand Prix. Hello, everyone. I'm Bruce Flanders, and along with Greg Barbacovi, we're going to be bringing you all the action, and Mickey has really built a heck of a track.
This is the first time ever that Mickey Thompson has brought his Off-Road Grand Prix Championship here to Anaheim Stadium. And the most interesting thing that I find, Bruce, is that with the baseball configuration that we have here, there's a lot more room to go ahead and build the track. And so as a result, there's a couple of lines going into every single corner, a nice, fairly wide starting line. We're going to see a lot of action out in the course tonight.
Every inch of the floor of Anaheim Stadium has been made into a racetrack, and let's take a close-up look at it right now.
We've got our camera mounted inside the truck that belongs to the defending champ in Grand National Sport Truck Competition, Mr. Steve Millen, and Steve's taking us for a ride.
That's right, Bruce. Off the starting line, the quickest reflexes are going to determine who's going to move into the lead around this wide, sweeping 90-degree turn that we've got going all the way through center field of Anaheim Stadium.
Near the right field foul pole is the tunnel turn, where the vehicles actually enter and exit the facility itself. Greg?
Then after that, they go shooting right around the top of second base. It's called the inside loop, which is real tough because on the extreme inside section is where the whoop-de-doos lead you right into the washboard. Looks a little smooth here on the truck, but Bruce, that's actually because this truck's suspension is working.
Right around the home plate corner now and headed back towards the finish line, you've got to look at one lap inside the Anaheim Stadium.
That's the way these drivers are going to be looking at the course every single time around. Plenty of heart-pounding excitement ready to take place here at Anaheim Stadium as we get set for the first heat.
And we're coming back with a big crowd on hand right after this.
Mickey Thompson's Off-Road Grand Prix is coming to the Seattle Kingdom. Saturday night, April 9th, see the world's finest off-road racers like Team Toyota's Ironman, Ivan Stewart, Team Chevy's Denny the Iceman Thompson, challenging other sport truck teams like Nissan, Mazda, Ford, and Jeep, the Ultra Stock Funny Car, Formula 1600, four-wheel ATV, and Stadium Superlights, all racing for their share of the gold. Special added attraction, the car-crushing Monster Truck Bash. Tickets at all Ticketmasters and Yamaha dealers. It's great family entertainment. Be there if your heart can take it.
Welcome back to Anaheim Stadium, where we're just about ready for the start of the Ultra Stock Heat Race. But first, I want to take you down to Bruce Flanders, who's been cruising the Toyota pits, trying to find out some of the secrets from a driver named Greg George.
The Ultra Stocks, the funny cars of off-road racing. Not your average bear, and they can cover ground in a hurry. We're with the gentleman who is sitting second in points right now overall with a technically innovative off-road car. Greg George, there are so many changes on your car from the normal. What's the biggest one in your mind?
The biggest single change and difference of this car is the airbag suspension.
Now, it has allowed you to gain how much travel per wheel?
We run 18 inches of wheel travel per corner.
Well, that's an awful lot. That means that the bigger the bump, the more you like it?
That's right. The rougher, the better.
Now, what about the engine-wise? You're not using the air-cooled Volkswagen.
No, we elected not to go air-cooled simply because they're really expensive. They're really touchy. So we've decided to go with a 2-liter Toyota, which is water-cooled, and it's a fairly reliable engine.
When we get inside the driver's compartment, you can see several levers there. What are they all about?
You've got a steering brake, which enables you to turn a lot quicker and a lot sharper, and then you've got your gear shift.
And you just run a standard, what, 4-speed?
I run a standard 4-speed gearbox, yeah.
Other than that, what other technical innovations? I know the airbags are a big item, but there's been more work and more innovative things done on this car.
Well, if you got all day, I'd tell you about them, but we don't have all day.
Okay, well, Greg George, we're looking forward to watching this puppy run.
So am I. I'm looking forward to driving it.
Thank you very much, Greg George, and that's our look at an Ultra Stock.
Thank you, Bruce Flanders. Now all the drivers are out of the pits and on the track, ready for the very first heat race for the Ultra Stocks. In row 1, we got number 69, Tim Maples, and number 15, Christopher Neal.
Coming up in row 2 is number 3, Jeff Elrod, and number 17, Ken Kazarian.
Row 3, number 1, last year's champ, Monty Crawford. And right alongside him, number 2, Greg George.
Fourth row, it's number 25, Craig Durfee, and number 31, Vince Chaumelin. They're ready, sitting on the line now, watching for the starter to come through the field. The crowd's on its feet and set for this one. We should have a green flag soon.
Now, the big question is what's going to happen to defending champ Monty Crawford out of San Marcos. He won the title and earned the number 1 plate last year, Bruce.
We're green flag already, and we're going to find the answer to that question very quickly. It's Maples in the blue car with the early lead, the number 69 Mazda RX-7 look-alike.
Boy, that Mazda just jumped out the right away, and look at that right now.
Monty Crawford, the number 1 car, the red one, coming back down off of the top of one of the other Scirocco's, and Crawford looks like he's no longer going to be a factor in this heat.
Boy, how quickly times can change. Number 1 last year, and here he's going to be off in dead last place.
The leader, number 69, Mazda, Tim Maples. In second place, it's Christopher Neal. In the third place spot, we have got the Toyota of Greg George, and in fourth, it's Ken Kazarian.
Way back at the tail end, though, Bruce, there he is, a picture of defending champ Monty Crawford. He won 3 races last year, but this year, not off to a good start.
Back focusing on the leaders, and that Mazda really hammers hard when it lands off the jumps. The Scirocco running second, the Toyota in third, another VW Scirocco in fourth.
Bruce, with this close-in camera angle, you're able to see the tremendous size of the whoop-de-doos that shoot these Ultra stocks way up in the air. It's a good thing that they have a suspension that's anywhere from 3 to 5 times that of a regular passenger automobile. Otherwise, they'd be broken in half by now.
And some of them are starting to break up as it is, Greg. There's body parts starting to come loose. Some of the fiberglass losing its moorings right there. 69 Tim Maples leads it. Number 2, Greg George is in the second place spot. Running in the third place spot is Christopher Neal at the moment, and Ken Kazarian in the yellow car, charging hard from fourth.
You know, talking about the fiberglass bodies, Bruce, it really makes it a lot easier for the novice spectator to be able to tell the difference between one car and the other. You got the blue Mazda RX-7 duplicate right there. That looks just like the street vehicle that it's named after.
And the Toyota going inside, trying to take the lead away from him, but Tim Maples in the Mazda puts it back. Oh, there's number 31, Vince Chaumelin, trying out the hydro barrier at the edge of the racetrack.
Greg George trying to dive into second place. Instead, he almost goes diving into the infield there. Number 2 up on 2 wheels over Mickey Thompson's hydro barriers.
I'm amazed he got back into the action and is continuing in the third place spot. But Ken Kazarian there in the yellow Scirocco has taken over second now. And in fact, second place is where the fight is, with Maples, number 69, the Mazda, well out in front now.
Bruce, you know better than anybody that things can change at a moment's notice. Just like you saw right there in between the two whoop-de-doos. Maples missed a gear or something, had a little pause and lost a second or so.
Number 25, Craig Durfee, has run into mechanical problems. He's out. We're back on the leader, 69 Maples right now.
Behind Maples, you got second place right there. There's Mr. Kazarian, who is the oldest guy out on the track, I think, Bruce.
Yeah, but at 37, he's not an old man. But this guy grew up around motor racing in Southern California, and I've seen pictures of him around sprint cars when he was only about 8 or 9 years of age.
There's not too much time left here in the race. We'll be looking at a white flag before too much longer. Now, remember, this heat race here will determine the starting position for the money and points-paying main event to come. And right now, here comes that man, Kazarian.
Ken Kazarian in the number 17 Scirocco trying the outside of Maples, touches him right there. But so's Greg George right up in there.
You said he was trying the outside, Bruce. Looked like he was trying the underside there with that low slung front end. He slipped right underneath the Mazda. Now here on the inside, he's looking for a smooth line, but no, instead George goes up against the hydro barriers again.
Body panels smash against each other as the white flag flies. There's only one more lap around, and this one's a great one for second place, and they still might take the lead away from Maples.
Bruce, I think George can look at the white flag from where he is. He came around on 2 wheels on that corner. Now on the inside, look out for the hydro barriers. He can snip them out just like a hound dog.
A great battle for the second place spot. The Mazda out in front of it, but the Volkswagen chasing the Toyota for second, and now the Toyota wants the whole ball of wax. Here it comes.
We were talking about it being way out in front earlier, but right there you only got 2 car lengths in between first and second place, and only 1 between second and third, and the checker's almost out.
Final corner right now, and Maples, it looked like Maples may have had left rear tire let go as the checker flag flies. Tim Maples comes home first. Second place will go to the Toyota of Greg George, and third place the Scirocco of Ken Kazarian.
Yeah, you're going to see in just a second here on the cameras. We can see it live up here in the booth. There, over on the left-hand side in the rear, the tire is flat. Bruce?
Maples wins it. George second. Kazarian third for the heat race. We'll be back with the main in a little bit. But you know, there's a lot more to a typical Mickey Thompson Off-Road Championship Grand Prix. And the kids love this part. Here's one of the monster trucks that came out during an intermission show called the Toy. But boy, that's a monstrous toy. Along with those car crushers, there were the single-seat Odysseys. 360cc two-stroke Odysseys, which is like an entry-level form of the racing. And boy, there are a lot of these. running all over the United States, some of them bouncing quite hard. By the way, I would like to point out there were no serious injuries of any kind with those vehicles. Then there were the Super 1600s, one of the most competitive classes anywhere the Mickey Thompson Off-Road Championship Grand Prix runs.
Well, you sure hit the nail on the head right there, Bruce. In the heat race alone, there were 16 Super 1600s side by side at the starting grid. And boy, look at that right there, that LRC arrow going upside down. That's what happens when you get that many vehicles out. Here with the green flag, this is the start of the main event. Bruce, there we had 24 cars.
One of the most exciting ones. And again, we had the people on their feet. Look at how many pieces of machinery are out there pounding on each other. Out in front, it was Mike Gilman. And the oil smoke continued out of that car all the way to the checkered flag. And Gilman took the win. Another part of the excitement was the Grand National Sport Trucks. Here we're inside of Steve Millen's truck in a heat race. On the left is the red Jeep of Little Al Unser Jr., and that's Walker Evans, who kind of set him up into the wall. By the way, the truck was okay and continued, but the win in the heat race to number 1, Steve Millen. Second heat race of the night, and on the point was Sherman Balch in the Nissan, but Jeff Huber in the Mazda came up, hammered on him a couple of times, and took the win in heat race number 2. Green flag in the main event. Sherman Balch outside front row, Walker Evans alongside of him in the Dodge, but the Toyota of Steve Millen snookers them all in turn 1, and Steve Millen took that number 1 Toyota to the win. Welcome back to Anaheim, California at Anaheim Stadium. I'm Bruce Flanders along with Greg Barbacovi, and we're here for the Mickey Thompson Entertainment Group Off-Road Championship Grand Prix. And it's just about time for the Ultra Stock main event, featuring some of the fastest replicas of sport coupes and sedans available in America.
Bruce, here's the roster. Number 17, Ken Gazarian will be on the pole position. Jeff Elrod, number 3 alongside. Tim Maples, 69, and Greg George, number 2 in the second row. Vince Shyamalan, number 31, and Monty Crawford alongside him, the defending champ. In row 4, Bill Silverman, number 40, and Christopher Neal, number 15.
There's Mazda RX-7s, there's Toyota Celicas, VW Scirocco's, and more as we get them set for this main event on this man-made Baja-like course in Anaheim Stadium. The starter checking over the field now to make sure all the safety equipment is set, all the straps are pulled up tight, making sure the visor's down on the one-car driver. You know, since this is a developing class, some of the older cars comply with last year's rulebook. Now, soon, all of the competitors will have the very latest in body styles and the hottest of engines from all of the major manufacturers. The starter, Gary Scheimer, climbs to his perch once again and checks over the field. It's just about time to let him go in the main. There it is, and we're racing now. Jumping out early into the lead, the number 3 car.
Boy, number 17, Kazarian in the pole position, apparently a little asleep at the switch, now trying to come back at the inside. Whoa, and he got hung up. The Mazda RX-7, Tim Maples, who won the heat race, nailed him from behind. They're both left there.
So first and third place in the heat are now running last and next to the last as they get back underway. Out in front, though, Jeff Elrod out of the San Jose area in Northern California with a generic Ultra Stocker. He has yet to finish the paint job on it. There's a lot of brand new cars being built for this class.
Well, I think maybe he may be looking for a couple of sponsors as well to try and help out his effort. And if he wins this race, he's not going to have much of a problem. I just saw a little wisp of blue smoke. Could that be a little bit of oil burning already this early in the race?
Could be a little edgy. The leader does not want to be oil smoking at this point. Second place behind Elrod is that hard-running Celica of Greg George, and running in the third place spot, the defending champion in this class, Monty Crawford in the red Volkswagen.
Now, so ever since Kazarian lost out on that pole position in the first corner, he's been driving like a maniac.
Bill Silverman, the Mazda that was broken at the edge of the track, a new experimental car, having troubles early in this main event.
Well, let's take a look at the guy who just came up into third place there, defending champ Monty Crawford out of San Marcos. He's driving one of those VW Golfs. Right now, the camera on that white vehicle, number 3, Jeff Elrod.
And Elrod earning every moment of camera time. He's in front of this main event and looking absolutely beautiful at the moment. The Toyota chasing the Volkswagen, and that's Greg George trying to close in. And again, as we have pointed out, that third place car, Monty Crawford, coming up like a bandit in the night.
What a race for first place we got going. Whoa, look at that, 2 wheels, Bruce. Number 2, Greg George, looking like he's on a motorcycle there.
Greg George wants by any way he can as they make the turnaround home plate. He closes into it, closes in and kisses him.
He climbed right up on his rear axle there. As you can see that fiberglass body being sheared and home now. It's number 1, Monty Crawford gets in on the action.
Second place, looking more like a contact sport than an actual racing event as they bumped one more time. Now, this so far has been relatively clean racing. They have just been bumping into each other, but that's looking a little uglier now.
Boy, if this is clean racing, the rough driving committee is going to have a tough day in front of them here. We've seen so much banging around, it's hard to believe that these guys still have cars to drive on.
Monty Crawford and Greg George in a personal one-on-one battle for second place. Again, the rough driving committee that we were just talking about, they sit up in a booth just off to the side of us, and if anybody does driving that is considered to be illegal or too rough, they put them back in their position. So watch that battle for second place.
Battle for second still looming tight. There in the background, you see Kazarian beginning to catch up a bit, but now it's Monty Crawford again looking for a new line. He went wide in the corner, then cut down quick on the inside to try and nail it on number 2. Not in time yet.
Boy, they are still talking to each other, and they're using their vehicles to do it. Look at that, man. Now that one had to hit hard.
You know, that time when Greg George came off there over the whoop-de-doo, his tires were actually leaned over towards the other driver. That looked a little aggressive to me, Bruce.
It's aggressive city out there right now. We're looking at Elrod, the smoke beginning to get even more oily, but the battle for second place behind him is a titanic one as they have at each other.
Now, Monty Crawford, he's a veteran. Last year's champ, of course. The guy in front of him, Greg George. Well, Greg won a couple races last year, too. As a matter of fact, Greg knows this track better than almost anybody. He was out on this course for the Super 1600 race as well. That's him, inside number 2, the Toyota.
One of the few drivers doubling up in class, and right now defending his second place position as Monty Crawford gets set to make one more run at him. And I think Monty Crawford's got him on acceleration.
He really does. He seems to be able to come out of the hole real nicely. The problem is that number 2 car is able to get the nice line going into these corners here. You got whoop-de-doos on the inside, smooth track on the outside, and so far, Monty just hasn't been able to get that extra inch.
That dead car in the water that they passed, that was Vince Charmelon with his Nissan Pulsar running into mechanical problems, and now a challenge for the lead as the Toyota closes against the Volkswagen for the overall prize.
Bruce, we're on the white flag lap. It's the last lap of the race, and this field is beginning to look like a pick-your-parts store or something.
Well, there is definitely some fiberglasses flown, and there's more flying there. And second place goes at each other again. It's Elrod in front, and a fire on Silverman's car, the one that's been parked on the infield, but they'll get that under control in a hurry. Let's go back to the checkered flag action as they make the final turn and head for home. Elrod in front, George in second, and in third, it is Monty Crawford.
Well, we just found out, Bruce, the largest crowd to ever see a stadium off-road race in the United States just witnessed Jeff Elrod take the first win of the year. 64,758 people.
As the graphic comes up, you can see Jeff Elrod, the winner. The rough driving committee has put Greg George in the third place finishing position and awarded second place to Monty Crawford. The Volkswagen Scirocco of our winner showing a little bit of damage on the right rear, but also giving you a good look at the suspension system.
Yeah, that suspension kept the power down on the ground, and that's how you go fast. Coming up next, we're going to go down and talk to him in Victory Circle.
Welcome back to Anaheim Stadium once again. Bruce Flanders along with Greg Barbacovi, and that is Jeff Elrod headed to Victory Circle.
After a very hard-fought victory, too, I might add, Bruce. You know, 2 things stand out about this race. First of all, first, second, and third place, they were never more than a second apart, constantly banging their wheels against each other. And the second thing, remember back to the first corner when Ken Kazarian buried it in the inside? He came back to finish in 4th place. You can pass on this track.
The Ultra Stocks bringing brand names back in front of the public in some exciting forms of racing. Let's go down now to the Victory Circle area and Sandy Reed.
Did you ever have a chance to look in the back of me and see what was going on?
I didn't have to look in the back. I could see Greg George on the side, and he was pushing me very hard.
Well, he was pushing all the way around tonight, but you gave it a beautiful run on the job all the way.
I want to thank everybody on my crew for getting this car working, and Bill for Mirage Chassis for helping me.
Did you have any problem at any time? Is there anything wrong at any time?
No, we had lost the power steering about 2 laps in. I don't know what happened. So I couldn't use the steering brake. I was holding on with both hands.
You've done one beautiful job, and congratulations. Here's Miss Toyota. You give you a hat and a special trophy.
It's been a hot night of racing. The Mickey Thompson Off-Road Championship Grand Prix.